So many people still blame me for what took place. If you look at my 14-year-old picture, think about your daughter, your friend, your goddaughter, your niece, and put yourself in that person's shoes and understand that that's a lot of weight to carry at such a young age. But I'm here today. I'm alive and present.
When you say people blame you, they're blaming you in 2026?
I'm still getting death threats. I'm still being harassed. I'm still the R. Kelly girl who got urinated on. You know, there's no mercy in that, but I'm not trying to convince those people of otherwise. I'm just here to do the healing for people who have gone through similar situations as me.
Hi, everybody. How are you? I know it's been a minute. I've just been so busy. Just trying to stay sane in this crazy world that we live in at this crazy time. Hold on one second. I had to take off. I'm home right now. I'm trying to get comfortable as I do this video. So much is happening in our world. And I did another video. For whatever reason, one of the pieces to the video didn't get uploaded or didn't get edited with everything else. It was weird. But I think I'm going to focus this video on what I set out to focus on. The young lady at the beginning of the video her name is Reshona Landfair. I think that's her name, Landfair. Beautiful girl. And my heart goes out to her in the deepest of ways. As a survivor myself of sexual violence and abuse at a very early age, I understand her and I stand with her. I purchased her book the day that it came out, and it's a great read. I've watched all of she's been on the news, and she's been on TV a few times this week, which I hope and I pray that this book is going to do great things for her and victims around the world. I want to see her win. I want to see her win as a Black woman who has been through it all. I want to see her win. I wish that I could hug her and stand with her whenever she needs. I wish that I could hug her, because these are the Black women that I have aligned myself with. Because there is a segment of the population of the Black collective that are really the cancers of our communities. There is a segment of the Black population, men and women, male and female, I should say, who are so degenerate and wicked and hypocritical and immoral, and they cause the most confusion, drama, and mayhem and chaos in our communities. They divide us. They pretend to be morally superior, but they're the most degenerate and morally bankrupt than all of us. These are the same ones that are homophobic. These are the same ones that are transphobic. These are the same ones that are misogynistic. These are the same ones that are violent. These are the same ones that are the biggest thieves, the biggest PDFs, the biggest unalivers. They're wicked. And they curate culture in a way that insulates them from accountability. They are the culture. There was a time when black people, our music was rich. The art that we produced was rich. Our mentality, our activism was rich. We don't have that now. I pray for this young lady because I see in her comments black men and black women, mainly black women, blaming her, calling her fast. She was a child. You can't consent at 14. You can't. You can't give a grown-ass man consent over your body at 14. And you know the funny thing is, excuse me, there was a woman in her comments that was berating her and demonizing her and questioning the validity of her story and the timing. And I saw this person under a post about the DL Whisperer online, claiming to have given the DL Whisperer money and donated to the money not because they're trying to get to the bottom of the DL men. They're trying to silence the trans women. You notice that? You notice how it went from the DL, we need to find out all these DL men in our community, to now it's daily attacks against trans women, and now they're garnering all the support from black women. The same black women that are in these comments talking about, why is it that every time something goes wrong with the LGBT community, black women are being blamed? Why is it that every time someone harms a trans woman, black women are being blamed? Why is it that black men are in the closet? And yes, we tease them and we make their lives a living hell and question their manhood, and call them all kinds of ag thugs and demonize them and spread all their information. Why are we always to blame? They're wicked. And I'm not talking about all black women, but there is a segment of population, of the black female population, that is evil. I'm sorry. Evil. Pure evil. Because a lot of these women are on the down low themselves. You will not find a person that hates trans women more than a down low, bisexual female. And you got to question why. Well, because I know studs. I know of studs. I know of masculine women that are lifelong lesbians who still want the option, whenever they feel like they have a craving for some man or craving for some PETA, because PETA is my name on this channel for the penis. I don't call it the DICK. I call it the old school term, PETA. How you doing? All right. Yes. You have lesbians out here getting pregnant, like studs. Hardcore lesbians out here getting pregnant by men. And then they have the nerve to question everyone else's sexuality. I stand with lesbians, always have. But there's something has to give because we have coddled them for so long. We have coddled them and protected them and insulated them from so long. And what they have done is they betrayed us and harmed us. Because mainly a lot of these women that are anti-trans are lesbians. Or bisexual women. Yeah. Okay? But they all... I saw this person under one of the posts over the DL Whisper, and I'm just like, wait a minute. So the mentality, it speaks to the mentality of these people that are transphobic. Because they're the same ones that are supporting PDFs. They're the same ones supporting R. Kelly. They're the same ones supporting Diddy. They're the same ones supporting Bill Cosby. They have no moral compass. They have no moral high ground to stand on. They have no morality. They have no humanity. They get in these comments when people hold them accountable for their transphobia and their homophobia. They get in these comments talking about, why are we always to blame? Bitch, because you're always over here in our community doing what you do best, dividing, causing chaos and dissension. It's what you do with your homegirls. There's always one girl in the center of a friend group spreading bullshit and lies and gossip about everyone else in the group. Pushing people to one side of the friend group. It's what they did. These women have gotten into our community, stolen the look, stolen the language, stolen the everything from the trans girls and the gay boys. And when they sensed that there was a little bit of animosity between the gay men and the trans women, they pounced on it. They pounced on it. And they have been in the community mainly for two reasons. To get the tea, get the lingo, get the culture, but also to help drive a bigger wedge between the gays and the trans. Now keep in mind, these are the same women 30 years ago that waged a war against all the gay men because of the down low phenomenon that happened with Elin Harris, I think that's his name, the author. Remember when he was on Oprah and he told the story about these DL men? They waged a war on the gay men then. But I guess this new generation is too young and dumb to realize it, a lot of them. Yeah. Now, when they found out 10 years after the DL men, when they found out that the trans girls existed and could look as beautiful as a lot of us look, as real as a lot of us look, oh, they lost their minds. Baby, they lost their minds. They sure did. They waged a war. They got into our community so that they can infiltrate it. They got into our community so not that they can educate themselves about trans women, but they wanted to learn, get as much information on us so that they can use it against us, even down to our surgeries. I'll never forget, I didn't sit on a panel. I saw a video years ago, maybe about 8 years ago, with, she's a black female YouTuber. And she would just do all these, because here's the thing. Y'all love to hate trans women, but y'all know where your bread is buttered. Y'all know who to do a video on. And because y'all know we them girls. Nobody doing videos on y'all and doing all these numbers. Y'all don't even do videos on y'all. Every time they do a video on a trans girl or trans women or the trans community, their numbers go through the roof. Yeah, we them girls. Y'all came into our community to divide and conquer, which is what you do with every community that you're in, which is why, and then have the nerve to sit back and say you're the most unprotected. When all the world sees is how you cause so much dissension in your own communities. And then you have all y'all, I'm going to tell you this to to the black women that I support, that I love, that I align myself with. I'm going to always stand with the ones that I'm cool with. But I'm going to have to really do my due diligence and make sure that I'm not supporting a homophobic, transphobic, misogynistic pick-me. I just won't. But I'm going to need y'all to the decent women, y'all need to really stand and come to this side. Let these bitches self-destruct because the world is seeing it. The world is watching them start all this mess, fight like niggas in the street, okay? Which dispels all the myths about being unprotected. But they're cheering, and I hate to just blame them. But I've seen too much. Over the last 10, 11, 12 years, I've seen too many women. Too many. Turn and just become evil and wicked when it came to trans women. And it had nothing to do other than the fact that they were motherfucking jealous and insecure. Because you can say that we're trying to be you. No, we're not. We're trying to, a lot of trans women want to embody the best of both worlds. They're special. We have been special throughout the whole history of this planet. The idea of having a being that possesses both physically, not just in energy, but both physically. The best of both worlds. You've turned what we are into something ugly and disgusting because you are insecure. Because many of you are not happy with your bodies, with your lives, with your femininity. How dare you? Shame on you. To the good, decent black women, I'm going to need you to form an alliance with trans women. Because these are the same women that have sided with these dusties who support this current administration. And you notice they're quiet. You haven't heard a peep from Umar Johnson. All of this stuff with ICE, breaking into people's homes, 6 o'clock in the morning, dragging their kids out the house and zip tying them. Why are the black men why are the kings so quiet? I thought y'all wanted all this smoke from the white men. I thought y'all were the kings and the gods and the leaders. You don't seem like you're leading now. You don't. All y'all, and a lot of them are talking about trans women. They don't want to talk about the white man and what's going on, but they rather talk about the trans women because they're scared of the white man. They really are. Don't let these women who are being guided by these dumb, weak cowards to drag the whole community down. Who's texting me? Hold on. You know, these men are really leading y'all astray, and you see they're not protecting you for anything. Hell, I saw a video the other day where a guy, after finished having intimate relations with a girl, handed her $40. Like her body was worth $40. But hey, if you don't have respect for your own body, why should I care? My point is, the same women that are transphobic and hateful, that cause all of this mayhem and horrible things going on, and all this mayhem and destruction in the black community, are the same women in this young lady that was allegedly harmed by R. Kelly. I hate to say allegedly. I hate to say allegedly because I just hate it. I couldn't even watch that video. I had to choose my words because I was like, I saw the images, but I couldn't watch it. I remember when the video was released in 2001. I remember it. And I remember there was a guy that I dated. He was Puerto Rican. Beautiful guy. Beautiful body. He was a personal trainer. Beautiful pink lips. Little ass dick. But that's another story. But he was fine as fuck. And he was a sweetheart. He was cool. I won't say he was a sweetheart. But we dated for a while. He played the video. He played a part of it. I couldn't see it. I told him to turn it off. And I still have the image of this young girl in my mind being abused. And it stayed with me all these years. And I often wondered about her. And I often prayed for her and sent her positive energy. I've held a prayer in my heart for her all these years. And to see her coming forward, it does my heart good. It does my heart good. And I'm praying for her. But you have to wonder, what kind of woman could see this young lady cry in this video and then turn around and blame her? What kind of woman does that? What kind of man does that? And keep in mind, these are the men and women that also hate trans women. We have to start looking at who the real problem is in our communities. I love this young lady. I don't even know her. I just love her in a deep way because I feel for her. I was SA'd about 5 times before the age of 10 by four different people. One was a woman and the other was men. There was one time I was getting in my elevator. I lived in the projects. And this guy that used to tease me all the time because I looked like a girl. I was about 7 years old, 6 or 7. And I was getting into my elevator. You know, I was outside playing in front of the building in the projects. And this guy that would always tease me with the older guys got in the elevator behind me. And he stopped the elevator in between floors. And he did the things that the PDFs do. And he started the elevator up, let me get out. I couldn't tell anybody. And then the next day, when he saw me, went back to teasing me and making fun of me and bullying me and making my life hell. How does a child process that? And then y'all turn around and make us the villains of the community. You hide and you coddle and protect the R. Kellys of the world. but the victims you hold accountable. The babies, the young ones, you hold accountable. Y'all tease queer children. You tease queer children. And now you're taking away their rights. And y'all claim that you care about the children. I hate you. I hate you with every fiber of my fucking being. Y'all are the most wicked among us. And it's the decent persons of this motherfucking country are going to have to unite. But y'all are the most wicked and disgusting among us. Please know that. I understand what this young lady is going through. I couldn't tell anyone. And I'm not going to lie. After being touched so many times as a child, who's that texting me? Oh, my phone is going off. But after being touched so many times as a child, by the time I was 11, I was starting to become promiscuous. Because I didn't get validation. I was being demonized by my community because I was a little trans girl. I was a little girl. The world saw it before I did. And so, because I was shunned publicly and alienated publicly, the fact that these men wanted to sleep with me and these males wanted to sleep with me, I felt like that was my validation. That was my acceptance. It fucked me up. Mentally and spiritually. And emotionally. It fucked me up. Most of you are disgusting. Transphobia is disgusting. Being a PDF is disgusting. I think going forward, people like that Tish person, the masculine lesbian that has been waging war against trans people, who's a total grifter. We need to, people like that, transphobic men, transphobic women, we need to band with the people that aren't transphobic. There are a lot of amazing men and women that love the community, that are straight people, that are and gay people that understand and will stand with us and stand with us. I'm going to do another video because something came across my desk last week. And it's really going to be a warning to my dolls. But I'm going to do another video. I don't want to put it here. But let me tell you something. How you can spot the most demonic, hateful, divisive, evil people among us in our communities. They're the ones causing all the ruckus in these buildings. They're the ones starting fights with everyone. They're the ones being loud and obnoxious. They're the ones moving into these buildings, clean buildings, and dirtying it, letting their dog shit all over the place. Okay? Littering their own buildings where they live. You can tell a lot about a person by the way they live and how they keep their apartment, what they say, how they treat people, their opinions on people, how they try to divide everyone. We need to walk into a new era where we can identify who the bad seeds are in our communities. And 9 times out of 10, those bad seeds aren't gay men, and they're not trans women. And they're not a lot of lesbians. But a good majority of lesbians and bisexual women, yeah, they're the cancers. They're the bad seeds. Many of them. And I'm going to say this, and I'm going to say this for the last time. Everybody that is talking about the DL men that want to expose DL men and want all the information on DL men are DL women. They know how they get down. They know how they lie, how they move, and they don't want to be victims of that themselves when it comes to these. Okay? Many of them don't want what they're doing in their lives and how they're creeping and lying and deceiving everyone else. They don't want that done to them, which is why, mind you, many of these women, what kills me is they're in the comments talking about, we just want to know who the DL men are so that we can avoid them. Bitch, no. Because how many, and my dolls can attest to this, how many of these women have called your phone after they done found out some stuff about their man and you? Or how their man is soliciting your services, or how he's pursuing you, and they want to call your phone. And then a year later, 5 years later, 10 years later, they're still with that same man. They not leaving these niggas over no DL shit, I promise you. They're nosy, they're inquisitive creatures. They want to know everybody's business so that they can weaponize it. But these women are not leaving these down. I promise you. They're not going nowhere. They're doing all this huffing and puffing, and they're lying. Many of them are liars. They're very deceptive, even though they talk about, the trans girls are deceiving and tricking. They're the main deceptors. The main Decepticons, how they like to call us. They're not leaving these niggas. They staying right with him. They sticking right beside him. What it is that every time they get angry with him and things don't go their way, now they have something to weaponize against him, his sexuality. But are they leaving these men? Absolutely not. They're not. I promise you they're not. Prayers go out to this young lady, but everyone, every child. Because children aren't safe around you adult, so-called straight people. They're more in harm's way with y'all than anyone else. Prayers go out in safety, and prayers go out to all that are suffering or have suffered when it comes to this SA and abuse as a child. God bless you. And one more thing before I go. I'm going to share another personal story. Well, I'm not going to give you a whole story. But these women are not going to leave these men. I promise you. And in fact, no matter what, they're going to stand behind them and demonize you because they're jealous and insecure. I had a situation a few years back with a man who I was dealing with. He was a provider. He was one of my providers. And he told me he was single. And I never understood. In retrospect, I just couldn't understand certain things because he did say he was single. I spent time at his home in Midtown Manhattan. I don't want to say where because I'm sure somebody else knows him or whatever. But I spent time with him in his home. A lot. I spent weekends at his home. Come to find out, he was married. He was married. Apparently, his wife found some media, some videos and stuff, and pictures and she called my phone. And she sent me a bunch of text messages. And literally, to this day, they're still together, which is fine with me because I don't want him. You know, I think once you betray me and lie to me, I don't want you. Yes, you get the money and stuff like that, but I don't deal with him. After everything that she saw in those videos and stuff, and the messages that he sent me, she's still with him. They're going on vacations out of the country. They just came back from Saint-Tropez. You know, because periodically his stuff will pop up on my timeline, even though I don't follow him, which is weird. But yeah, she's still with him. They're not leaving. I have a gay cousin that lives in Harlem. And flamboyant gay, but he's one of those gay men that everybody's cool with. The dudes respect, give him his life and stuff like that. And you know, he's that. You know, he and I, we still close. That's still my baby. We're still family. But you know, I remember there was a time when a few years, maybe not even a few years, this might have been like in the 90s or early 2000s. And, you know, he lived in the projects. And what is those projects all the way on 125th Street near the one train, all the way on the west side near where the Cotton Club used to be? I forgot the name of those projects, but he lived in those buildings. And literally, he was having all the bisexual men in that building and stuff. And literally, there were things that, you know, I remember, you know, we used to tell him, don't stop befriending all these women and stop telling all these straight men's business to these women because they're going to turn on you because they secretly hate you. They just know that they can get the tea and gossip with you, but they're going to be careful. Baby, let me tell you something. This definitely wasn't like the early 2000s. This wasn't the 90s. This was like the early 2000s. And, because I remember it now. And literally, he had proof. He had a camcorder and was like recording the dudes and showing it to the females. And there was one big fat, because I remember he introduced me to the girl. And I just felt her energy off rip. I just was like, oh, I don't like her. But she was big, fat, and ugly. And black. She was big, fat, black, and ugly, and hairy. Like, she had really hairy arms. And I always felt she was phony. And so, because, like, the time that I had hung around him and whatever, bitch, I used to get my life back in motherfucking Harlem. Like, back then, girl, to be the doll, pumping through Harlem like that, and you look like fish, too. Ooh. I remember one time, I remember one time he introduced me to this guy. He was like muscular, like big old cock diesel dude that he was in love with. But the dude, when he introduced me to the dude had the biggest smile and he was blushing and he was cute. I forgot he was fine actually. I wouldn't say he was cute in the face. He was handsome, really ruggedly, not even rugged. He was handsome in the face, but he had the body of he just was amazing. But I remember every time because we were standing on 125th near that church, that famous church. We was not too far from this famous church on 125th Street. And it might have been 8th or 7th. I forgot. But he introduced me to this guy, and the guy was blushing and stuff like that, and cheesing, and then he would ask, like, low-key ask my cousin for my information so he can, because he didn't ask me right then and there. But my cousin told me later, he was like, yo, he wants your number. Can I give him your number? What I didn't like is that my cousin told him my tea, but I don't think that mattered. I think he kind of spooked it a little bit. Which was fine. I don't care. Like, I think he spooked it. Nobody else. I think he was, well, no one else spooked it, but he spooked it. Whatever. I don't know. But I think my cousin did. If my cousin was being honest, he told me that, he wanted my number or whatever, and that he told him T. And whatever, he still wanted my number. So, whatever. Anyway. But you a bitch. I used to get my life back in the fucking projects, honey. Okay? But he would show them videotapes. And, like, one time he had showed the videotape. And I remember one time, like, the whole family had to kind of assemble. And all his friends and family had to assemble. And, like, had to pull up because there was some shit that was jumping off in them projects. Because the girl, the big fat black girl, she was telling the guys, even though she saw the guys in the video having sex with my cousin. She saw the guys in the video, but she was like, oh, he out in y'all. And then she had the nerve to sit back and was telling, like, there was a whole bunch of women. They were arguing. They were banging on my cousin's door and stuff. This is what he told me. They were banging on his door, standing around talking about, we don't believe you, even though they saw the tape. We don't believe you. You lying. And then one of the girls, it's so messy. I'm trying to remember everything, but it's so messy. One of the girls that was standing around demanding, saying that we don't believe you. You lying on these men. You want all these men to be gay. One of the girls was really cool with my cousin. She kind of came around and was like, she came around and was telling, she would come around to they had became cool again after she had did that whole thing with all the women banging on his door, whatever. Now, mind you, these are all black women. And she told him, she was like, all they do is talking about how much you are a fat, ag thug. And like how all these ag thugs, these fags, want to turn all these boys straight, and they mad because they can't get them, and they mad because they trying to be us, but they could never be us. Keep in mind, she saw the video. Because he told me, he was like, I showed her the video, and I was like, why would you do that? Why would you do that? Mind you, I was like, you gotta move because this is not safe for you. And he was like, I'm not moving. Like, he had a permit, so he wasn't scared at all. My cousin is gangster. My cousin is gangster. So, and I have so much respect for him. And he didn't move right then and there. He eventually moved to Brooklyn. But, no, he didn't let them run him out that building. In fact, every time I spoke to him, a few months will pass. He was always having the boys. Now, mind you, a lot of these dudes that he was having, most of them, were probably gay men at the beginning of their journey of being gay. Like, they knew that they had an attraction, but they were not out. But, yeah, she said that the girls, those same girls that he was sitting around, gossiping with, showing the videotapes to, and stuff like that, lied and said, called him all kinds of ag thugs. He was a fag to them. And it was like, that's all y'all try to do is trick these dudes and get them, and turn them gay, and talk up. Like, I was just like, ooh. And bitch, shit like that still goes on today. Okay? No matter what you do, if you are gay and trans, these women don't like you. They think what you are is disgusting. Why do you think they're trying to get to the bottom of the whole DL mess? Oh, I don't want to sleep with a man that's sleeping with y'all. Mind you, most of these dudes are sleeping with us. Stay woke.